Howdy, folks.
Howdy, folks. I'm Brian.
I'm Amber.
And, whoops, here's a bumped microphone and some Reddit. So, we're starting off today's episode with a, microphone bump, just like what we always do. And I think you aren't going to be disappointed. Our first story is titled, before we get to that, Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
This time I remembered,
yes.
and we didn't even have to re-record a whole episode for me to remember it at the beginning.
At least not yet.
Not yet. We very carefully checked the microphone levels to make sure that everything's working fine. All right. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Friend that her getting treated like a doormat is her choice and that I won't do the same? I'm a 27-year-old female, and my partner S, a 32-year-old male, have been together for 3 years. Our relationship has always been a little odd from the outside. S works 80 hours a week and is a lawyer at a large firm. I work as a policy analyst for the government and a nice 37.5 per week in comparison. Before we dated, he told me that he wants to work up to being a partner and that it would require long hours. I told him that I prioritize a work-life balance, even if it means a lower salary. We agreed to date knowing this about each other. My best friend V, a 27-year-old female, and her boyfriend started out dating first year of university and have had a rocky relationship. The boyfriend cheated on V in our last year of university, and he's since been caught cheating again twice. V, against my advice, has chosen to stay with him. S recently got a promotion, and as part of the deal, he was assigned an assistant. When I met her, I kind of got the vibe that she was crushing on him. She was really flirty and attentive to S, which he pointed out to me first. He said that he'd still keep her on as an assistant, but that he would make sure nothing got out of hand. I wasn't concerned because I've never had a reason to worry that he would cheat on me. One night, V and I got dinner and later decided to go back to my place. S's office is between the restaurant and where we were and my apartment building, so I offered to go drop off some food to him. I asked V if it was okay if we stopped, and she agreed. When we got to his floor, he was working in a glass-paneled room alone with his assistant. I didn't think much of it, dropped off the food, and left. I also want to add that there were a lot of other people in the office. As soon as we left, V asked if that assistant is the one that I thought had a crush on us. I said yes, that they often work late together. V got angry at me, saying that I was treating this like a joke and that if I wanted to keep my man, I would have to stake my claim or something. I explained to her that I wasn't worried that he would cheat and that I trusted him. V told me that she was certain that he was cheating and that I should force him to ask for a different assistant. I was getting kind of annoyed, but got worse when V said, amongst other things, that S knows he can cheat on me and I'd let him because he makes more money than me, so he doesn't need to respect me because he pays more. S's salary is around 3 times mine, although I have an okay salary myself, around $85,000, and don't need him for money. We split bills percent-wise, so I pay less than he does, but it's equitable and we agreed on it. I told V that just because she's okay with being treated like a doormat doesn't mean that I am, and that if he cheated on me, I would leave him. Respect is essential in a relationship. I also said that she had no place offering relationship advice considering her boyfriend is a serial cheater and they fought all the time. And that if she wanted to keep complaining to me, I should start charging her. It was mean and I feel really bad about it. She hasn't talked to me since. So, am I the jerk? Let's ask our dear viewers what they think first. Dear viewers, what do you think? Oops. All I heard was a microphone bump. What do you think here, Amber?
I think while OPU didn't necessarily frame things the nicest, I can understand her frustration, and the friend was completely out of line for this. I mean...
Well, where does the friend get off offering advice like this? Like, oh, you need to stake your claim. when her boyfriend has cheated on her multiple times here. It seems like, what are you even doing here? This doesn't even make any sense. Your boyfriend's literally cheating on you.
Yeah, well, it sounds like she's projecting her own issues onto OP.
Yeah.
Like, just because her boyfriend has cheated on her doesn't mean that OP's boyfriend is necessarily going to cheat on her. And so, like, okay, he's working with his assistant in a glass-walled office with other people. Like, so scandalous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think also, like, maybe the timing when they got there wasn't necessarily the best, in the respect that, they were still, people around. But if they're working late together a lot, then I could see that being a little bit more of a point of concern, and maybe the friend has a little bit better of a point. But, the thing is that OP's, partner here hasn't given her any reason to think that he's cheating on her.
Right, and sometimes you just have to trust people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes your partner works with people that they could potentially be attracted to, and, like, that's just a fact of life. And if they care about you and respect you, then they're, you can trust that they're not going to do anything behind your back.
Yeah.
Our next story is, am I the jerk for throwing out some of my girlfriend's shoes?
Oh, no, not at all. It's only some.
No, you're a huge jerk. We don't even have to read this. I'm a 34-year-old male, and I lost my apartment during the pandemic. My landlord went up on the rent, and I couldn't afford it. My girlfriend, a 27-year-old female, told me that I could move in with her, and I have been living there since October of last year. She has a house that her parents gave her as a graduation present. Now my girlfriend, whom we'll call Joy, owns a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with plenty of space, considering it's just her and her dog in the house. The master bedroom has a walk-in closet. This is important later. When I moved in, she told me I could keep my things in the closet in her spare room / office / workspace, not in the master bedroom. Now the closet in this room is very small and hardly holds all my clothes. I don't like having to fold up some of my things into the dresser, because then I have to iron them in the morning before work, or having to walk from the master bedroom to the small room for my stuff. I got a couple of things in the master bedroom, but not much. 98% of the stuff in the closet are wedge shoes. As a kid, Joy wasn't much of a girly girl and was a complete tomboy. Apparently, after she told her mom that she wanted a pair of wedges, her mom has bought her a pair for her birthday and Christmas every year. Joy owns like 56 pairs of wedges. Some she doesn't even wear much, as she told me. Some are still in their boxes. A couple days ago, I decided to make some space for my stuff. I went through her closet and bagged up some of her clothes and shoes. I made sure to pick things that looked like they hadn't been worn in a long time. Most of the items were shoes. I took the bags down to a local secondhand store, then went home to move my stuff into the closet. When Joy got home, I told her what I did and showed her how there was now room for my stuff and hers. She went off on me, screaming at me and demanding that I go get her stuff. I told her I am living here too, and it's only fair we share.
Oh, this poor woman.
She threatened to call the police on me, so I left and went to a friend's place while she cooled off. The next day I went to the second-hand store and got back her stuff. Thankfully they hadn't unpacked the bags yet. I took them over, expecting her to be better behaved, more willing to talk, and happy I got her stuff back. Instead, Joy went off on me again and told me to pack up my stuff and leave. I tried to reason with her. In the end, I called a friend to help me pack. Joy took my key off my chain and said we were over. I think she is being unreasonable because I have lived there too. I should have space in the closet as well. I tried to tell her that, but she blocked me on everything. My friend said it was a jerk move to take her stuff. Maybe I should have moved them to the smaller closet, but she doesn't wear all those shoes and doesn't need them. I doubt she would have noticed they were gone if I didn't tell her. They were just taking up space and I got them back, so no harm, no foul. Am I the jerk? Edit, just so you know, I'm not homeless. I already got myself a new place and already looking for a better girl.
Better.
I have been staying with Joy since October of last year, since some of you are hard of reading. She was my girlfriend, not some roommate. Just because we weren't married doesn't mean I couldn't make some rules in the house, too. I had told her many times that I needed more space and the closet was too small. She didn't want to be reasonable. I made sure the things I took were either things still in boxes or in the back of the closet. Shoes and clothes are very easy to replace. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It was just stuff. If you are attached to a piece of clothing, then maybe you all need to see a doctor. I guess I need to see all the doctors. And yes, if she had tossed some of my stuff, I would have been upset at first, then understood why she did it. I have 4 green shirts I don't wear, and if she threw them out, it would have been fine. My parents did the same thing to me and my siblings when we had too much stuff. So he sees himself as essentially in a parental role over her. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't use it, then you lose it. I'm surprised how dense you all are. She wouldn't make room, so I made room. Honestly, this was likely for the best. Joy wasn't the type of girl I would have married in the end. Later, Reddit.
He sure showed us.
Yes.
So, I'm going to ask Reddit for advice. And then when Reddit gives me advice and tells me that maybe I didn't act in the best of ways, I'm going to tell them to all F themselves.
Essentially.
So, the thing that I find the most interesting and most intriguing about this situation is the fact that for some reason he doesn't understand that stealing someone's stuff is wrong no matter what. And like, okay, maybe his parents did some stuff that wasn't necessarily the best, but it's a little different for a parent to get rid of stuff from a kid. Slightly, it depends on the situation. Like, okay, I had a box of junk that my mom would occasionally go through and toss some stuff out that she didn't think I would miss. And she was mostly right? I mean, it was literally because, I would have collected all kinds of junk. And that's just kind of the way I was as a kid. And I think that parents do, of course, need to be careful when they do stuff like that. It isn't like you can't just carte blanche throw away your kid's stuff. But on the other hand, like, he's not a parent.
No, he's not. And it sounds like her house in her name.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually the point I want to talk about. The whole, it's her house.
And so he's just staying here. He doesn't mention anywhere that he's even paying rent or something. Yeah. He could be, but it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like she's like, oh, hey, you can move in with me. And then he's like, well, this is my place now, essentially. Like, and I understand wanting to have space for your stuff, but if you can't work that out, then you just get a deal or move into a new place. You don't start throwing out your partner's stuff.
Well, I mean, you should. He totally is right here.
No, he's very much in the wrong. If Brian threw out my many shoes, I have shoes that I hardly ever wear. And if Brian threw them out, I would be very sad.
She would be very sad. So, I don't know. I don't know why someone would come onto Reddit looking for advice and then just outright be like, oh yeah, I don't actually want your guys' advice.
Well, I think he was looking for vindication. Like, I think he was sure in his head that he was right.
He's like, oh yeah, people are going to agree with me here. It's stealing someone's stuff and just donating it. That's fine, right?
Yeah, why is everyone so attached to their stuff? It's like, dude, if it was something a material possession that you cared about, like, okay, not everyone cares about clothes, but everyone has, or almost everyone has some material possession they care about.
I love how he's like, oh, well, if she had thrown away 4 of my green shirts, I would have been fine with this. But it sounds like he got rid of a lot more than 4 items here.
Yeah.
It sounds like he got rid of a ton of stuff. And, maybe this was all a situation where the relationship was kind of doomed, because it does sound like she wasn't listening to him and how he was like, oh, I really would like to store my stuff in a way that I don't have to like constantly iron my clothes. I think that's actually, a reasonable, request in a lot of ways. But that still doesn't give him any reason or excuse to toss her stuff.
No, it doesn't. I mean, and again, that's the sort of thing you would sit down, you try to talk out a compromise, and if you can't, in the end, it's her house.
Yeah.
So at that point, it should have been OP's responsibility to find somewhere else if the arrangement couldn't work.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, Brian lets me have all the closet space I want because I own basically all of our closet.
Yeah, she has like 90% of the closet. I have like 10%.
And most of the dressers. And my own rack of clothes.
All right. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for reacting badly when my cousin, a 23-year-old male, sleepwalked into my bedroom at 2 a.m.? I didn't know he was a sleepwalker. So I'm an 18-year-old female, and I live with my mom, a 45-year-old female, and my dad, a 53-year-old male. My cousin Cameron, a 23-year-old male, on my dad's side, has started studying at a trade school near where we live. The trade school is just a 10-minute walk from my house. Mom and Dad offered Cameron to stay with us in the guest bedroom while he was studying at the trade school. Otherwise, he would have to travel over an hour to get there every morning in his car. Cameron took up the offer and moved in with us 4 days ago. I'm not particularly close with my cousin Cameron, and I don't know a lot about him. Cameron is a lot closer to my dad, who he considers his favorite uncle. The bedroom he is staying in is upstairs on the second floor, directly across from my bedroom. Usually in the middle of the night, I wake up at like 2 or 3 a.m. to use the bathroom. Last night, I woke up around 2 a.m. only to notice a figure standing at the foot of my bed, looking down on me and mumbling to himself. I realized immediately it was Cameron, and my mind immediately went to the worst possible explanation, and I naturally freaked the F out. I can't really blame her.
No. I mean, I think even if I saw you standing at the foot of the bed mumbling in the dark, then at 2 a.m., like, my immediate reaction is just going to be to freak out, like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
No beer and no TV make Homer something.
Go crazy?
Don't mind if I do!
You still judged me. I knew it was coming.
Rip headphone users. Sorry. I jumped out of the bed and started screaming for my mom and dad while racing out of the room past Cameron straight to my parents' room. I know it might sound over the top, but in hindsight, I was seriously petrified. Well, as it turns out, Cameron was a sleepwalker. None of us, including my mom, my dad, or me, knew that Cameron was a sleepwalker. After my parents realized what was going on, my dad went to confront Cameron in my bedroom, and when he turned on the lights, it was immediately obvious that Cameron was still asleep and just sleepwalking. When Cameron woke up and heard what had happened, he was extremely offended by my reaction. He says he can't believe that I would ever think he would do something like that in a million years. I told him that any person in a position who wakes up at 2 a.m. to a man standing at the foot of their bed looking down on them is going to freak out in the same way that I did. Not if it's Edward Cullen.
I'd freak out if it was Edward Cullen.
I also made the point that he never told me or anyone else in the family that he sleepwalked, so naturally my mind didn't go to that conclusion. My parents are on my side. They are both pretty upset because they would have never put Cameron in an upstairs bedroom if they had known that he was a sleepwalker, because he could have fallen down the stairs while sleepwalking. Cameron is very offended and angry. He was especially hurt that my dad, his favorite uncle, didn't defend him. Cameron's parents are also on his side and think that it's extremely horrible that I would come to that kind of conclusion about their son. They think I overreacted horribly. So I want to know, am I the jerk? Oh, there's an edit. Edit, a few people have mentioned that Cameron may have fake sleepwalk. I don't believe this is true. When my dad went to confront Cameron, he could immediately tell that Cameron was sleepwalking. My grandpa was also a sleepwalker, so dad knows what it looks like. Also, my aunt and uncle have verified that Cameron does indeed sleepwalk on occasion. So,
Not the jerk.
Not the jerk for sure. And the thing is that most assaults happen by people that you know. And so just because Cameron's, a stand-up guy, if that's what he is, doesn't mean that he might not do something terrible. And this is probably a nightmare scenario, like waking up to find a strange man, standing at the foot of your bed. That would send shivers down my spine, like what Amber said. I would be freaked out because, one, you don't know, you just woke up at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
You're out of it, and you see someone standing at the foot of your bed. It doesn't matter. You're going to be scared. You're going to be like, what is this person going to do to me?
Yeah, the nighttime just worse with your head. I don't believe in ghosts and demons by the light of day, but as soon as the light goes off, there's definitely a murderer waiting in my shower for me after I have to go up and pee in the night, like.
So, yeah, that's just it. It's like, who wouldn't be freaked out? What is even Cameron on here, you know? Someone just needs to go stand at the foot of his bed while he's asleep. Wake him up and see what his reaction is. I thought you were going to murder me.
Right, like I think that's the natural reaction. If there's no reason for someone to be at the foot of your bed at 2 a.m. and you see them there.
Unless, of course, again, you're an attractive vampire who sparkles in the sunlight.
I'm still freaking out. I'm getting...
Okay, so here's the thing. Is like, when I first heard about that in Twilight, I was like, who wants that?
I know.
I just couldn't understand who would be like, oh yeah, I totally want a vampire standing at the foot of my bed.
Now I'm going to take that stake you carved me and like set it by the bed so we can't have sparkly vampires in there at 2 a.m.
There aren't any sparkly vampires.
I'm just being silly.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. What do you folks think? Do you think that she overreacted, or do you think this was a perfectly natural reaction? Let me know.
Definitely a perfectly... And like, that's the thing is like, you can't necessarily fault someone for their 2 a.m. reaction to something. Like, by the light of day, they may trust you completely, but again, your mind is coming out of sleep. It sees a strange person at the foot of your bed. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not an indictment on your character, and that's the problem, I think, because he sees this as an indictment on his character.
Well, exactly. He's like, oh, why would you think I would do that to you? And it's like, you know what? Anything can happen, for one, and two, you were literally standing at the foot of her bed. What other reason do people have for standing at the foot of a bed? So if he has a good reason, any other reason in the world, again, you know, why anyone would stand at the foot of your bed in a non-creepy way in the middle of the night, then please do share that, because, you know, I can't really think of any at the top of my head, unless you're like a parent going in to check on your kid and being like, oh, look, they're asleep. That's probably the only good reason. So, yeah. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you to Amber for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for watching, and if you like this video, consider giving it a like. If you dislike this video, or you dislike, well, no, I don't want to say that. I was going to be like, if you dislike people standing at the foot of your bed, but I mean, then I would have all the dislikes.
Yeah.
But if you dislike this video, then consider giving me a dislike. You know, independent of the fact that you want people standing at the foot of your bed in the middle of the night. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Something matter?
There's a song, October of last year, and I can't remember what the song is.
Oh, somebody told me that you had a boyfriend who looks like a girlfriend that I had in.
But I guess it's February of last year.
Yeah, February of
so
last year.
I don't know why, but like that just got stuck in my head, and I was like trying to piece together what song it was. Sorry, my brain just couldn't complete the loop. And
what, is that the White Stripes?
No, it's oh gosh, what? Killer.
The Killers?
Yeah, the Killers.
Okay.
There we are.
White Stripes, Killers. They're basically the same
No,
band.
they're not.
I don't mean that in a mean way. They just have very similar sounds.
All right, back to our story.